We're now into the final month of quarter three for the financial markets, or September. I've got 5 shares that I'm looking at today, which I think could do well in September and through into quarter four. And that's Disney, phobic, Moderna, AMD and Blue Prism. And I am also going to look at Camber Energy, which is a penny stock which I looked at middle of July, and I was very bullish on it, similar to how I was with Codal Minerals, which is another share that I've watched quite a bit. I was looking for a good bounce, and we are seeing that right now. We're up 100% in just sort of 6-7 weeks from posting that. We did see this decline, and I know a few people did panic when they saw this decline, and then we saw this huge rally, and there's nothing to say that we could continue a lot higher, but I will just have a quick look at that as well. But in this video, mainly I'm looking at these 5 shares for September to maybe see a reasonable performance as either they've been consolidating or they look to break out. It's the 7th of September. My name's Tyrone and you're watching Minipip. Getting straight into the video, the first share that I just want to look at, and I'm only going to briefly cover them, just look at potential entry points, stop losses, or where your support would be and what I'm aiming for. First one's Disney. MACD is positive but looking to turn negative, and RSI is reading 53. We've been consolidating since May, and I do think that come back end of this year we're going to see that breakout that we need to see. And when we do, I'm hoping it's going to be quite a good move. So I'm looking for an entry point at somewhere in the region of around here, which is about 178 to 179. That would be a brilliant entry point, you know, with a stop loss below this trend, well, this sort of trend line support here. Maybe around 169 to 170 would be a good sort of stop loss area. And I am looking for a bounce towards 190. If we saw 190, you could sell half of the position and hope for a rise towards 200 a share. It's been consolidating for a long time. You've got Disney Plus, which is there. The parks are opening now. And as we go back into the year, I get that it's going to be cold or it's going to get colder as such, even though it is currently a very hot day. But when the parks start to open, I really do think that the strength of Disney is just going to be immense. They're competing against Netflix now, and you know they've got so many IPO rights, intellectual property that just can't be touched. And when the parks properly open, which will start to happen, I think they're going to do well. And realistically, they didn't even lose that much money from the pandemic. I think it was about 2.5 to 3 billion, and they've already made about 2 billion this year, so they're already on track to be pre-pandemic when it comes to the losses. And I do think that it's only a matter of time before they break out. Unless this support breaks, would I be concerned? Volume's quite low at the moment. It's sort of average. Maybe a volume spike would help, see an increase in buyers, but now that we're into September and the big players are back, we could see that. The other share as well that I wanted to look at is phobic. I have just posted about this one, and I think it's just decided to just fall quite heavily, unfortunately. But 29.55, and we are in this sort of symmetrical triangle. If you can see that there, and despite this today we're down 1%, it doesn't necessarily bother me. We're probably going to get a consolidation here, and I'm hoping for a breakout towards 35. We've got a little gap fill there that we need to do. We do need to fill that, and if we can, which is about 33-ish, 32 to 33, we go towards 35, and then we could head up towards this cluster here at around 40. It's a meme stock. Play it safe because it can just go up 20-30% in a day, or down 10% in a day. It's a very volatile stock, but we do have this support, and we do have the moving averages underneath. A lot of people at the moment are saying about how there's going to be a correction, and yeah, some of the shares do look like they could correct, but I still wouldn't want to be a seller. I'd just be buying on the dips, and if they continue to dip, I would then just rebuy in a little bit more. So if you had £1,000 to invest, for instance, let's say he was going to do Moderna, which is another share. If you're wanting to invest in that, invest now. If it falls, invest again, and if it falls again, invest again, because these shares will ultimately come back up, especially now with the booster jab. that's been going about. Moderna has got pretty much a guarantee for a very long time in terms of revenue, and probably going forward I think that the COVID vaccine will be something that is seen like the flu jab, where potentially it is every year and you get that booster. We've been in a very solid uptrend. We've got the moving averages underneath, and I do think that, sorry I'm looking at the wrong time frame, but yeah, moving averages underneath, and we are looking to break out. Volume isn't too heavy. We are peaking up on it a little bit. If we look at the daily, we have seen a slight spike on Friday of volume. Hopefully we get a bigger push maybe in the next, this week, and we can see that continue higher towards 500 a share, which is what I would be looking for. So again, entry points for this, would be somewhere in the region of about here, and even buying now is not an issue because this is looking very positive towards 500. And if we do dip, we've got the moving averages all as support underneath, where I would continue to add. And realistically, Moderna is probably not one of those shares that you would want to sell. You'd probably want to hold it. Another share that I wanted to look at was AMD. It's doing very well at the moment. I think that it will probably continue higher. The targets as such want to be somewhere in the highs of 125. Looking at its current price action, we do have a sort of trend line, which is a little bit more, lenient than the current one, which was here, which in my opinion, we have broken that now, unless today turns around a positive day. If we do turn around today, then that could be potentially the sign to go higher. It does look like a good sort of indication to go higher, but given that we are breaking that at this very moment in time, if we do, potentially towards the moving average, which would be a nice buy-in, and again towards the trend line before we continue higher. And I think going to the back end of the year, there's nothing wrong to say that we could target those highs at 125 and in extension 140 within the next 12 months. Buying the dips probably would work. I think that there's a dip to come. Buying in now, it's not a problem, but might not be the best price that you could maybe get in. But you just have to see how the price moves over the next week or so. Blue Prism is another stock which I have tracked for a while on the site as well. So I did look at Blue Prism quite a while back, and essentially I was looking for around an entry point at around £8 a share, and we're now £12 a share. This is a spike because of a potential buyout with a company called TPG Capital, something like that. Haven't looked too much into it, and I said I'm looking at the technical point at this moment in time. So given that we've had this spike, we could see the share consolidate in the region of here between the 10 and the 12 region like this. And then if we do get a confirmation of a buyout, there is nothing to say that we could get to these levels that we saw at the height of the pandemic, sort of pandemic highs as such, 18 to 20 pounds a share, or around here, which is a nice gain from its current price. So again, but there's a good potential gain there. If you're already in this share down here, brilliant. That's a great entry point. How you choose to play, that's up to you. Sell half of it now, you've made 50%, and then you can continue to hold it, or you could just hold it all and hope for the best and you make a lot of money. But in this current situation, if you're not in, buying in at around this region is risky, but could pay off, as if there is a buyout, depending on what the agreement is, it could be somewhere in the region of there. Financially, they are growing quite strong. It's quite good numbers, but I think that they're loss-making as a company. But they're in the right industry and they do have the right clientele at the moment, and they've been around for a while, so they are ahead of the game, so it makes sense why someone would want to buy them out. And finally, Camber Energy. Right, okay, so I'd put in this sort of post at around 50, and I, you have to be careful with shares like these. They are penny stocks, they move down. So, we'd moved quite a drop down from 50 as such. We'd dropped 30%, and then after the drop of 30%, we rallied 200% from that lows, which is immense to see in just 20 days. 200% rally. These don't happen often, and they're very hard to get a hold of. Luckily, I've been able to spot one, And when I said 500% from that low, you're targeting somewhere in the region of 2. And if we're taking it, so sort of, if you bought in at that 50 level, 500% is somewhere in the region of $3 a share. Can we get there? Yes, we can. Are we going to get there? I really don't know. You get these spikes all the time, and what you'll quite often see is that we've had this large decline. We could see this spike up, and say, for instance, what you could see now is another potential spike, and then we could do something like this over the next 2 years, or next year, or next 12 months, however it be, and you could see something like that. If you choose to sell there and try and buy back, that's fine, or you could just hold it and ride it and hope for the best. But that is what I'd look for in Camber. Buying and selling, the entry point to this is very difficult. I can't, how long is a piece of string? I can't tell you when to buy and sell this. It's a very difficult share to predict. It's near impossible to predict. Volume is very low, generally speaking, and if it spikes up, it spikes up for a reason. Short squeeze or certain parts of information which we can't have an influence on. But generally, I still think there's more to go in this, but the big scheme of things is you're probably going to see a cool down, and then another spike, cool down, another spike, like we have done in the past. And as you can see, it's pretty good at doing these spikes. But maybe $1.87 to $2 would be a good point if you're in at this 50, a nice 400% return. Up there would be good to then sell, to hope for a decline, to then get back in again, would be something that you'd be looking for with Camber. That is everything that we are looking at today. I'm sure as the month progresses that I will find other things that potentially look good, that may do well, and I will post about them on the website. So obviously keep an eye on the website. I've got group chats, and I also have Instagram. So everything will be on there on the website or on the Instagram. Thanks for watching.